What's up, internet world? You know what? Neil Brennan just did a Netflix special, and he joked around about people that start their YouTube videos with a clap.
I call them all the clappers because they start all their posts like this. What's up, guys?
And although it's funny, and he's right, I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep doing it, Neil. You know what? I'm also just excited that today I am going to review the North Shore Nova 6 premium package of their portable sauna tent. Let's get into it. Saunas, heat therapy. If you're in the fitness world or if you're into podcasts, you may have come across Dr. Rhonda Patrick, Dr. Peter Attia, Dr. Andrew Huberman. Maybe you came across Laird Hamilton, professional surfer. Maybe Joe Rogan. Maybe you listened to all those people being interviewed about saunas and you thought to yourself, you know what? I should probably find myself a sauna. Your Instagram feed is going to populate sauna. So is your YouTube, so is your Google, because Big Brother is watching us. But he's also listening. And I must have said sauna enough times to where eventually this guy, the North Shore Nova 6, as well as the sweat tent, these things started popping across my Instagram feed. I didn't even know that portable saunas were a thing. Right? I listen to these podcasts. You can only hear about increases in growth hormone, speeding up recovery, being able to kind of mimic that cardiorespiratory, cardiovascular benefit. You can only hear about those benefits for so long until you're like, all right, so sauna, right? I want a sauna. For me, personally, I thought to myself, you know what? I think there's a few local big box gyms that have saunas. I'm more than willing to pay a couple $100 a month if I can have access to a clean, not crowded sauna that gets actually hot enough. And hot enough is very important, very important. I'm just regurgitating all the things that I've learned via podcasts and via my own homework. And that is most of the studies that came out of Finland on the benefits of these saunas that we know and love, all the research that everybody's talking about, that research was done between 180 and 210 degrees. So while it's totally possible that you could experience benefit at a lower temperature than that, I'm just going off of the science.
Yes, science!
So I go to a couple of these big box gyms. The first thing I noticed was they didn't get hot enough. I went to a couple, I literally sat in there for like 30 minutes, didn't break a sweat, and I'm like, well, I'm definitely not going to pay for something like this. I had another couple experiences that weren't bad. They did actually get hot enough, but they were so crowded and people were coming in and out, in and out. And you really want that temperature to be able to be maintained. And you don't want just people coming in and out. And then the other issue was cleanliness. You don't know how often these people are cleaning things. All right, so for me, the big box saunas were out. Then I start Googling, sauna, and I find a sauna business, like a legitimate sauna. That's all they do. They've got like 5 rooms of sauna. That's all they do. You could get monthly membership. I was stoked. I was excited until I went and I had my first experience, and I won't go into great detail, but I will tell you that I saw things in those rooms that I cannot unsee.
Brother,
Next thing I know, I'm scrolling Instagram, and what pops up but this portable sauna tent. All right, now if you have Googled saunas, you also may have thought to yourself, well, maybe I'll get one of those giant barrel saunas. How much do those cost? Well, it really depends on what your budget is. So those things range on the low end, right, from like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. I've seen them as high as $20,000. If you want to spend 20 grand on a barrel sauna, you will have one of the nicest saunas around. They're fantastic. They really are awesome. For me, that's not in my current budget. 2 things I was most excited about for the North Shore Nova 6. One, the premium package just sets you up for the ultimate sauna experience. And actually, that's their mission. The mission of North Shore Sauna is to make the authentic sauna experience more accessible. Now, they do that by, well, the things that I'm about to show you, by actually creating a wide enough door. This is a 32-inch door that's actually ADA accessible. So they're not just trying to recreate that full sauna experience just so you feel like you're in one of those barrel saunas, but they actually make it accessible for everyone, which I thought was pretty awesome. Another thing that is also very cool that I have to mention is, when I review things, we're going to talk about the materials, we're going to talk about the specifications, but I want you to know a little bit about the North Shore Sauna Company. So the founder, Chad, I haven't met him personally, but over a few emails, we got to know each other, a fellow veteran and sauna enthusiast. So Chad grew up, one of his parents was actually from Finland, and so Finland is a place where people sauna on a regular basis. And so he grew up actually bonding with his family and other families, actually going out to other people's houses and doing sauna, where me in Southeast Missouri, we bonded over pizza rolls and Married with Children. That is neither here nor there, but I think those Finns might be onto something. So Chad, just an awesome guy. We reached out, we told him we would love to try the Nova 6, and he hooked us up with the premium package that we're about to go through right now. Materials. What is this thing made out of? This is a 300 denier Oxford polyester material. Now, what does that mean? Well, I just did a review on True Work pants that were a 70 denier fabric. Fun fact, one denier is one single strand of silk. So this is a 300 Oxford polyester, 300 denier rather. Now, if you're thinking polyester, polyester comes in many forms. What is 300 Oxford polyester? Good question. So think of it like jeans, right? So you can get jeans from many different manufacturers, and depending on where you get them, you could get Walmart jeans, or you could get some Diesel jeans. This is the Diesel of sauna tents. That's just to say it's a very high quality material. I actually have a comforter on my bed at home that feels almost the same. It's extremely soft, it's water resistant, but it also comes with a rain fly. Now, the first time we used this, I did not put the rain fly on and it snowed, and I should have had the rain fly on. I'll say that. It's probably a good idea to keep the rain fly on just in case, unless you absolutely know that it's a beautiful summer day and you're not going to have a lot of moisture. The issue we ran into was the snow collected pretty heavy and it started dripping just a little bit. Not a lot, but it was more condensation than I had bargained for. Now, the Nova has multiple different packages. There's the basic Nova, then there's the Nova Pro, then there's the Nova Premium. All of them come with the basic tent, the rain fly, and the stove. The Premium bundle, again, what we're about to look at right here, has a few other accoutrements. Measurements. So the Nova 6 is 7.5 by 7.5 by 7.5 and is approximately 6'10" inside. So I'm 5'5.5", and I can barely touch the top in here. We've had 7. I think 7 is the most people that we've had in here, and still very comfortable. The Nova 6, hence 6-person. We've definitely had 6 in here with no issues, but I also brought in a couple footstools, and so at one point we had 7. Here's a picture of that. I'll insert that in the video. 7 people, and it still felt very roomy, and no one felt like they were too close to the stove. One of the reasons that I'm not getting in the tent just yet is that it's about 90 degrees outside, so I think it's about 120 degrees in the tent, and the stove isn't even rolling. That's the benefit of rolling this thing in the summertime. I could show you a video of when we rolled it in the winter when there was still snow outside, and it still gets just as hot. It just takes a little bit longer to heat up. It is 110, maybe 115 degrees, and the stove is not on. Don't touch this thing if the stove's on. So here we are. Again, I can barely touch the ceiling. I do have pretty long arms, so I'm about 5'6". My wingspan is about 5'10". All right, just long ways, but 6'10", so 6 foot 10 inches. We've had multiple people. When we had several people in here, the whole party of 6, several of those dudes were over 6 foot tall, and they were totally cool. Now, Premium. What do you get with the Premium? Great question. Right here, this is one of the Western red cedar benches, and they smell fantastic. That quality cedar smell. You can't recreate the authentic sauna experience without real cedar. Now, because it gets so hot in here, you don't want to touch anything. Now, of course, you could bring an oven mitt or something like that, but the Premium package comes with these very, very nice leather gloves emblazoned with the North Shore logo on the side. Also, the bag. All right, so the bag that the tent comes in. And there's actually 2 pair of gloves. I don't know, in case 2 people want to play patty cake or something. These are still a very nice pair of gloves, not quite as nice as the orange ones. You have stakes. So you may have seen in that first picture, we are on concrete right here, so I don't have an opportunity to stake it down. What I did was tie the sides down to several couple 100-pound tires. And that worked pretty well. The bucket and ladle. Could you just bring in some water bottle, squeeze bottle, and put it on the stones? Yeah, but is that the authentic sauna experience? No. This little guy, all right, bucket and ladle, it's just super cool. All right, it's very nice, and the handle still gets hot. So if you're gonna touch anything, all right, that's wood or metal while you are in your session, just use a glove. Not only 1 bench, but 2. So you actually get 2 of these, which I will roll the camera around just a little bit. Now these things sit 30 inches off the ground. My feet are sitting, I believe, 16 inches off the floor. And there's a difference in how it feels when I'm here versus how it feels when I'm here. And it kind of depends on your level of comfort. Personally, I like it up top. When I put water on the rocks, which I'll show you in just a moment, when you spread that water on there, the people up top can feel it a little bit, they feel it a little bit more. North Shore asked a question on their Instagram channel of what are some unwritten rules of the sauna? And one of them was you don't get to add water to the stones unless you're sitting on the top bench. And I like that rule, and we have adopted that here at Existence. So this is our sauna basket, and this is our literal box of rocks. The sauna basket, I don't know if I would love the sauna as much if it didn't have the basket and the rocks. Personally, I think I would feel like something's missing. Again, authentic sauna experience. If you've been in one of those barrel saunas, you know, you hang out for a while and then somebody says, hey, is it cool if I, add a little water on the rocks? Dry sauna without the rocks, still awesome. One thing, I'm actually kneeling on the fireproof mat. The fireproof mat is also something that has just come in clutch. So we are on a small piece of turf right now. If you were in your backyard, really anywhere, I would say the fireproof mat it's just a good idea from a safety standpoint. It's just a black mat that makes sure that things don't catch on fire. Back to the materials. Yes, the tent is extremely high quality. The benches are Western red cedar. They're amazing. They actually pop together very easily. We set this whole thing up. So luckily, we've got a strong community, literally and figuratively, here at Existence, and they were all excited to try out the tent as well. I probably could have set the whole thing up in 20 minutes, including benches, stove, tent. Sean Sewell and I popped the tent in less than 5 minutes, and then the stove comes almost completely assembled, but there are just a few items that you need. So just a little hex screw, all provided, and this is the bulk of the stove right here. And on the side, you can see these wings, if you will. Now, our previous sauna tent, also fantastic. The sweat tent stove, I think when I made that video, I mentioned like what an incredible stove that was, and it is. And this thing is a freaking unit. This is probably one of the coolest, not probably, it's the coolest stove that I've ever dealt with as far as a small wood-burning stove. So again, it comes almost completely assembled. You've got the ash tray, literal ashtray at the end. I'd highly recommend making sure all the ashes are out before you begin. Just a good practice. So the door swings open and shut with this little latch. You can close or open. We'll call this the proverbial flue, if you will. So open, now I've got airflow flowing into the fire. If I need to get out of here and I need to shut this fire down, I can shut it off. Now also at the top, and I'll show you a picture of this, the flue at the top, I can turn that as well to just really make sure that the fire is extinguished. This is the mat right here, this fireproof mat, which again is probably a great idea because we are on a piece of artificial turf. something not included in any sauna tent, but I personally like this little guy. So this is just a now essential oils. This is 100% pure eucalyptus. So personally, I like to take a couple drops of this, put it in the bucket, and then you just get that extra little fresh eucalyptus when you roll the water over the stones. One thing I forgot to mention in the premium package is also the wood carrier. Now, I don't have it right now because I loaned it to a buddy because he's bringing a bunch of wood so that we can do some more sauna sessions, but I'll slip a video in right here. So the wood carrier, also part of the premium package, along with the leather gloves, the benches, the bucket, the ladle, all the bells and whistles. Now, every one of these things is just a little extra attention to detail. The wood carrier, at first I was like, oh, that's like a little handy dandy little extra thing. Do I need it? I didn't think so. It's so useful. Like if you don't have a wood carrier, just collecting firewood for your campfires or anything like that, go ahead and get one. Hell, reach out to North Shore and see if they sell their wood carrier just by itself. It's awesome. It's my favorite color, and it just makes carrying wood so much easier. Now, if I really wanted to, I could nerd out all day on things like growth hormones and how heat shock protein sets off a cascade of hormonal events leading to increases in potential testosterone and growth hormone, and then there's cardiorespiratory benefits because your heart rate is up and elevated trying to adapt. We could talk about all that stuff. Every sauna has the potential to give you those benefits. Here's something very unique about the Nova 6. With the 6-person dimensions, with the 7.5 by 7.5 foot, giving you that extra space, and also the stove being manufactured, this work of craftsmanship in there that is the stove, right? You have these extra wings on the side that just help dissipate the heat. At no point, even with 6 people, did anyone feel like, hey, I'm a little too close to the stove. And in some scenarios, right, if you've got a small sauna tent, you're getting those great benefits. You want to get the community aspect in there. You want to get your friends in there. You want to share the experience. And sometimes there's always one person that's kind of like, whew, is your arm burning? Because my arm's burning. My legs are burning. And that just hasn't happened because of the size of this. And that is one thing that I think is actually missing and that I want to touch on just a little bit, and that is the importance of community. So if you're familiar with the idea of blue zones, some people, raise their eyebrow when people talk about blue zones. A blue zone is essentially, it's a geographic location where people live into their 90s and 100s with no cancer, no diabetes, no heart disease, things like that. And regardless of what these people eat, regardless of their genetics, there are two things that all of these populations share around the world. Number one is a sense of purpose, and number two is community. So yes, while we should eat our fruits and vegetables and our nutrient-rich food, absolutely, we also need to be sharing experiences with each other. And I'm gonna riddle me this, Batman. When was the last time that you legitimately sat down with 3, 4, 5 friends with no screens, no food, no drinks, all right? So not over dinner. The only time that I personally get those kind of interactions is around a campfire where there's no distractions, and that's what I mean. And that is one of the most unique aspects, I think, of the Nova 6 specifically, is that ability to gather with 5, 6 people, no distractions, and actually have a conversation. Which leads me to another little aspect of this is, does it get hot? So my qualifications for a good sauna was like, is it clean? Well, you're buying it brand new, of course it's clean. Is it crowded? Well, it's just about who you let in there. But if you want you and 5 of your friends, 6 of your friends, it's awesome. And the big one, does it get hot? So even in the wintertime, I unfortunately didn't have the thermometer. That is one thing that I wish the Nova 6 would have come with, is a thermometer. You can get a super cheap one on Amazon for $10, digital or wooden one, something like that, analog, whatever. You can get a thermometer, is what I'm saying. It's $10. So it does not come with one. In the wintertime, I'm not sure what we had it up to. Everybody's pouring sweat. I imagine we were in that 180. I now have it hanging where I showed you just before. The highest I've gotten this up to was 210. That was actually 2 days ago. And typically I can stay in the sauna for about 20 minutes. I'm usually good at about 180 for 20 minutes. I'll take a little break, maybe do another 20-minute session. I personally had to get out at about 15 minutes. Some days I can handle it, some days I can't. But here's another thing in the sauna. Be safe. There's no need to be a hero. All right, if you feel the need to get out, there's a fine line between thinking, hey, it's hot, like but I can do this. And then there's another thing when you're thinking, am I going to pass out? If you come to the point where you're like, I don't know if I can do this, get out, step outside. You're not winning any points. All right, you can always step out and then come back in and get all those benefits that you're looking for. So let's talk about price. Again, the Nova comes in, I believe, 3 different package levels. At the premium level, you're looking at $2,835.95, also available in monthly installments. So just under $3,000, and you have essentially recreated the authentic sauna experience, which is the mission of the North Shore Sauna Company. While the North Shore does come in a little bit higher than maybe some of these other sauna tents, I don't think you're going to get near as high of a quality. So if you are trying to recreate that sauna experience and you're not necessarily willing to drop 10 grand on a barrel sauna, I think that it is more than a fair price at about $2,800. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you love this video, if you learned something, please let us know in the comments. Give us a like, give us a follow, and get sweaty.
Reminds me of being in the rainforest with a bunch of canopy over your head and just enjoying the heat.
Hot tent. Feel like a brisket.
Feel like a rotisserie chicken, but in the good, delicious way. No, it was really nice. It's like very open. Just loved how it felt a lot more comfortable with some of the smaller ones because you actually have a little air to breathe and you're not so on top of the stove. But incredibly consistent air too, which is nice. Sometimes you'll get a hot, in smaller ones you'll get like a really hot blast, and you don't really want that. You want a nice consistent flow, and this gives that.
It's so awesome. Not only relaxing, rejuvenating, it just feels good to get that schwitz in with your friends and talk and listen and share experiences. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Oh, that did feel good though. Ah!